The video introduction you just witnessed contains a collection of combined symbols, all of which hold certain esoteric meaning and value. Let us begin to unpack these symbols by first exploring the concept known as the Black Sun. I'm joined here with Michael Tsarion. And Michael, can you please elaborate and put to spoken word what the Black Sun represents in symbology, subversive use of the Black Sun, and any ties the Black Sun might have to the Third Reich?
Yeah, the Black Sun is has been used by the Nazis, and that's just because they were a secret society. They were more than a militaristic or political body, and to make that clear to people, they used occult symbols. They used the runes, and they used the swastika, which is a symbol of the Black Sun, although it also has other meanings as well. And then they used this symbol of the Black Sun itself. And that is simply to represent that they are referring to the occult tradition. It's an you can't understand it. Well, there's two ways to look at the Black Sun. One is that it represents galactic center. And then all the energy of the universe from an occult point of view emanates from there. It's the unseen sun behind the physical sun. And this would be the case no matter what solar system we lived on. Our sun, the physical one you see every day, is basically the sort of exoteric sun that gives us our daylight, gives us our daily appearances. It's the body, it's the earth, it's the physical, it's the seen. The Black Sun represents the mental, the intellectual, the unseen tradition. If you're coming from an Egyptian point of view, you'd think of it as being the sun that lights the underworld. And there's a lot of Greek poets, Metamorphosis, Ovid, there's other famous ones I can't really remember right now, but there's a lot of Greek mystic poets who talked about the actual Black Sun as being a symbol of initiation in the ancient world. So if you're coming from the Egyptian sort of Gnostic tradition, then it represents hidden meanings, hidden understanding, also a badge of conquest. Like you've gone through these trials of the underworld, emerged successfully, and then you can sort of wear that symbol. Hitler used it in very much this way. Again, he had a ritual called the blood flag. Physically, some of his compatriots had been shot in the street beside him, and the flag had fallen into the gutter, and the blood of his comrades had touched the flag. And then what did he do? He took that physical event and made it into an actual ritual in which no Nazi banner or flag could be sanctified unless it had first been touched by this blood flag. So here's a perfect symbol in which the trauma, of a particular incident was turned into an eternal rite. And this is also connected with symbols as powerful as the Black Sun. So when we talk about galactic center, we're physically talking about the axis of Sagittarius through Gemini, where the Milky Way kind of runs, and then galactic center being in Sagittarius, and that's why we have an archer. Because in some schools, the archer's arrow is meant to face the target of the Black Sun. We have that in the Maya. Only in the Maya tradition, the Black Sun wasn't black, it was blue. So in Masonry, when you have a thing called the Blue Degrees, or the Blue Lodge, I think Deep Purple have an album called the Room of the Blue Light, or something like that. It's very Masonic. This is all Masonic terminology. You'll have a lot of corporate logos. This is how I actually first found out about it. All of this was from a completely opposite way, is looking at the symbols in corporate logos throughout the world and finding so many that had a blue orb with these radiations all around it. You find this constantly, and that is strangely, even though it's blue, represents this galactic center, or the Black Sun. Some people even think the symbol of the G also represents the Black Sun. So that's one way of looking at it. The second way, when you're dealing with occult zodiac, occult geometry, is to always be thinking 13th sign. So to me, the more sinister aspects of what the Black Sun represents is really that it's an allusion to the 13th sign of the zodiac, Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. That's when a great deal of world historical events have taken place. Major tragedies, even in the Bush administration, when we had the declaration of wars on Iraq and what have you, happened at that time. So there's a lot of saber rattling takes place during that period, a lot of assassinations and weird murders, and a lot of also the birthdays of exceptional people. You can't even count how many strange deaths of pop rock personalities happened at this time of the 13th sign. It's not known to ordinary astronomers and astrologers. They only have a 12 sign zodiac. But for instance, the courtroom, right? And we know that the man in black up there, he's the black sun personified. The judge, the magistrate, right? And then you have the 13, right? He's the magistrate, and you have the 12 jurors. So that's a 13, and it's in a precinct that's separated off. The court is a separated precinct that replicates the 13th sign. And so much more could be said about the symbolism of that 13th sign. Almost any shrine, any church, that has this precinct concept, where there's a porch and a portal and some occult symbolism, and then you have to cross it in order to get into the main sort of area, like you would do with the Temple of Solomon and many other important cathedrals and even Masonic lodges. Let's not forget that. And so Masonic lodges, like the one in London, the Templar Lodge, is shaped as a sphere, actually. Right? There's Templar buildings like they show in Spielberg's movies, Indiana Jones and the whatnot or whatever. These Templar circular zones are called temenos. That was the ancient name, like a terminus. But temenos, there's a lot in that word. It connects to a precinct, a shielding. It represents a grove. It represents a goddess. But this whole idea of temenos, and in a way, a city. A city is a temenos. So in other words, the black sun, the energy of the black sun is actually being channeled in every city or town. And that's why, this is how I found out about it. By going around the physical towns, you start spotting this stuff. You see symbols of black suns or solar symbols that you think first are actually our physical sun, but they're not. And even the moon, I found that in certain circumstances, the moon is used as a symbol for the black sun as well. So they play on you. They play with images. Perhaps even the black horse, Kabbalahs, which is a very heavy-duty Masonic symbol. Heavy-duty Illuminati symbol is the horse. There's good reason to believe even it, you see, represents the black sun. And that's because even in Greek mythology, horses pull the physical sun across the sky. Well, why would horses not also represent the black sun? And sometimes you even have white horses and black horses. So that pulling the sun chariot. So there's a symbol there of the white sun, the exoteric sun, and then the esoteric sun. You pull out the tarot cards, you find the same thing. You find card 19 is the physical sun we all know, but card 20, which is called judgment or aeon, that's far more occult. And the Hebrew letters for the physical sun that we all see is resh, R-E-S-H, resh. And that's where we get words like royal, regent, rex, roy, red, right? That's because it's the outward physical sun. Re in Ireland means king, R-I, ruddy, right? But then the next card, number 20, which I think is more symbol of the hidden sun. The Hebrew name for that is Shayin, from which we get the English word shine, right? So it's the shining sun behind the sun. So when you're watching your James Bonds, and when you're watching your commercials, the Nike stuff and all of that, and all these weird Beyonce, videos, and even listening to lyrics, watch out for this concept of the light behind the light, right? Or the Masonic call it the lost light. There's actually, type in the word the lost light, and you'll see all this Masonic stuff come up. Check out these Luciferian terms, because they have their own symbolism. It's nothing to do with Satanism. It's just a solar cult symbolism. And then the more esoteric stuff, just like we said, there's Masons and there's Masons. There's Masons who are good guys trying to do good for their community, couldn't care less about symbolism or any of this other esoteric stuff. And then you got Masons who do, and then in these other cults, in the solar cults and these other cults, Knights Templar, Rosicrucian, you've got those guys who are on the surface and know practically nothing at all. And then you've got these people who are very hidden, far more sinister, who design these incredible mansions in these houses, like Berlusconi's house. Remember the garden, which is the big serpent with a crown on it? Why would anybody have that, as a symbol? Why do you see these go through Bristol, Bath, London, every city, even the names of the cities being, under the star, Manchester, right? This Leicestershire, right? There's a whole symbolism in the names and the positioning. And now we have a new wave of artwork, so-called artwork, that's cropping up in the civic centres of Britain. I think it's in America too, but people have been noticing the most bizarre artwork cropping up all over the villages, towns, and cities of of England, and they're monstrous. And so alignments have a great deal to do with this, because the more subtle alignments, the ones that the normal astronomers can't account for, these are the ones that are aligned to galactic center, or along the axis of galactic center. See, so people think, oh, they're going to be aligned to the moon or the sun, the famous ones that pretty much any O-level, student, basic student could work out. But then there's far more subtle symbolism, especially around Buckingham Palace in London. That's all based on the 13th sign. The whole design, I went into this in the Irish Origins DVD at the end, hinting to the fact that the whole of Buckingham Palace there is a total precinct unto itself, you see. And you remember everyone talks about London, the two Londons. There's the city of London inside, the bigger city, and the dragons are at the gates. This has been pointed out by several people. That's a precinct. So you have a lot of precincts. I'd say the Rockefeller Plaza, I haven't looked into it, but I would say that Washington, D.C., Vatican City, all of these things also are little cities that represent the black sun symbolism, because they're set aside, because they're set apart. The podium upon which the Queen is crowned, that's a separate precinct, a little primordial mound. And I think that might have some black sun symbolism in it as well. So basically it just represents hidden occult knowledge in the hands of a few. But it's knowledge that is blinding you. I refer to it as the dark side of the sun. So when in my Irish Origins book is entitled that, Akhenaten, the cult of Aton, and the dark side of the sun. But I'm not really talking about this sun. The other sun they worship on an occult level is actually this black sun. So it's an incredible symbol, really, very powerful symbol, both in a positive and a negative way.
Welcome everyone to MTSAR Conspiratorium, a Facebook page where people can exchange thoughts, ideas, and insights with alternative researcher Michael Tsarion and other Facebook members. Every so often, MTSAR Conspiratorium hosts a live online webcast where Michael answers questions and comments that have been posted on the Facebook page and interacts with people in real time with members watching live online. Details of the next event can be found by visiting MTSAR Conspiratorium on Facebook. Michael himself is an active participant on the page and regularly posts, comments, and engages its members. Feel free to visit MTSAR Conspiratorium and join us in the discussion.